You are listening to episode 15 of the Underhook Show. My name is Steve, alongside as always with my co-host Chris. Chris, it is a wet evening in the Midwest, but we got a lot to talk about as always. So I want to ask, how you doing after the Grand Slam Mexico show has gone off the air?
Pretty good, my friend. Trying to stay dry, trying to stay cool. It's a little humid, but I enjoyed tonight's episode of Dynamite. Can't wait to dive into it.
Same here. Did you happen to catch anything from yesterday in the same building?
No, I did not. My plan is to do that tomorrow at some time.
Yeah, real easy watch. It's like 5 matches and like just under 2 hours, but a lot of fun. The Dorada Bandito title match is getting a ton of hype, which I enjoyed it too. And the big multi-man where it's like Los Guerreros and Los Infernales against Don Callis family, a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely check out that show. I mean, just for the fact that it's so short, but it's such a easy watch. And I think if you liked some of the stuff tonight, you'll get a good amount of enjoyment out of the Tuesday Arena Mexico show. But we are here to talk about the Wednesday show, this being an AEW production from the home of wrestling in Arena Mexico, as being Grand Slam Mexico. And it definitely felt like an AEW show to me. Obviously, like the crowd reactions were a lot more earnest just because of where they're at. But this was like no bullshit. We got a couple of angles, a couple of promos, but then it was just, you get what you came for, and that was the wrestling.
I loved it. It was a great night. It was a smooth 2.5 hours. A lot better than those 4-hour blocks where we just got those past 2 weeks. But I'm ready. I'm ready to dive right in, and I got some questions because you are the man to know the lucha. So I have a couple questions when we get there.
Sure. Yeah. I'll also preface, I'm no expert. I really dove in last year, so I'd say I got about like 18 months under my belt of just kind of learning. So I don't know if my explanations will be
out of us
thorough.
Out of
yeah,
us
no, I'm
two.
just saying because I have seen some cynical comments like with the Atlantis Junior thing being like, can't wait to hear podcasters explain this one, but I'm like, well, I'm gonna talk about it when we get there. You know what I mean? It's just, I think the whole issue there, and I don't want to dwell on this too much because I do want to just talk about how much fun this show was. You know, it's just one of those things where I think if you only watch WWE and AEW and you're just being exposed to a lot of this stuff, there is going to be a lot of people talking out of the side of their heads. But I had no problem admitting when I'm new to something, because half of the fun is finding things for the first time, right? And then when you find something for the first time, you got, like, in CMLL's case, like, years worth of a back catalog, you know? So it's just like, don't clown on anybody. The whole point of this is to put people onto it. That doesn't really have anything to do with our show, but I just meant, like, you're gonna see some weird takes outside of our bubble, I would say.
Yeah.
That being said, we started with Hangman just being the damn ace of the promotion, cutting a promo en Espanol, and I would even argue he sounds more convincing in Spanish.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to do the whole promo in Spanish, but I enjoyed it. I'm glad that he sounded more intense when he speaks Spanish.
Yeah, it sounded awesome. Came off as convincing, even if, I mean, I'm not a Spanish speaker. I took 1 semester in college. I'm not fluent for sure by any means, but
Excalibur had our back. So.
Yeah. It came off strong. I know there's some full translations floating around, but very effective way to connect that bridge, you know, between audiences.
And it was a nice way to kind of have a storyline still to go into this event, because there really wasn't much else storyline-wise going on.
Right. After the opening segment, we went right into our first match, which there was some shuffling of the deck here. A couple of people had trouble getting to Mexico City. I believe it was only Cash Wheeler and Claudio, which I can assume is just visa stuff. nothing official came out, and Cash was acquitted of his case as well. So I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Honestly, that was my assumption. I don't know if that had something to do in part with that still, but
Yeah,
it
we
was
don't
either,
really
it was
know at
either
this
that or
point.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't really know at this point. I just assume it's Visa stuff. So Cash Wheeler was out of this match. So instead of just finding a replacement, not only did they replace him, they added two more people. So Volador Jr. took his spot, and they added Lance Archer. And then on the other side, they just added Atlantis Senior. And real
Yeah.
fun party match,
Why
I
do
would
people
say.
hate Atlantis?
Oh yeah, let's get into it. So, from my understanding and just getting information from the right places, when the smart fans are in Arena Mexico, like specifically, he gets this reaction. And I noticed it last year watching on a lot of the shows. Not all of them, but a good handful. And the gist of it is that he didn't necessarily earn his push. Like it's almost like a nepo baby case.
Ah, okay.
Like he didn't do enough to fill the shoes of his father, and to basically they strapped the rocket to him a few years ago. I know he claimed Stuka Jr.'s mask at the anniversary show in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So like he was given a lot right out of the gate, and the smarter fans still feel like he necessarily hasn't earned his stripes, so to speak.
Yeah, because I was highly confused when they came out and they were booing them, and I was like, "Hey, they're the faces?" Question mark. And then I was like, "I'll figure it out."
Yeah, like Atlantis Jr. or just Atlantis flashed up on the screen. He made his entrance with his father, and still like they didn't give a fuck. It was just full on. And anytime he tagged in, anytime he got offense, and it was just raining down on him. And it happened last night too. He wrestled Josh Alexander, and they weren't having it.
Yeah, oh, I love this crowd. This is awesome.
Funny bit about last night's crowd: the cameras actually picked up one Bryan Danielson sitting next to Chris Hero in the audience.
Hell yeah.
So the real ones were out for sure. So the teams were Don Callis' family being represented by Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Josh Alexander, and Lance Archer, joined by Volador Jr. and Dax Harwood, taking on the babyface team of Atlantis, his son, Bandito, Adam Cole, Daniel Garcia, Brody King, and Templario.
One rotation central.
Yeah, this is crazy with just the amount of people, but they made it flow well with the kind of relaxed tag rules, where it's just like legal man can just kind of, he didn't like, have to tag out, you just have to make a clear exit and someone else come in.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
So, yeah.
I realized that watching a bunch of CMLL trying to get into this, they do a lot of multi-man matches, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like the
Okay.
standard. Like your average Friday night main event, more
Okay.
often than not, it's going to be a 3-on-3.
Okay, for sure, yeah. I noticed that when I was watching. I was like, okay, and AEW leans heavy on the party matches, so it was nice.
Yeah,
I just like
this
the
worked.
arena. I liked everything. Like the lighting
Yeah.
in the arena was awesome. It was cool.
Yeah, and like I used the word earnest earlier because it's like, obviously people are going to gravitate towards all the noise, because obviously crowds can't necessarily make or break a match, but they could definitely add another element. They can make them more exciting, clearly.
I want to
And
know where the fans with the horns were.
yeah, maybe not this one. At least that I didn't pick up on any, but
I didn't hear any at all. That's the one thing I heard when I heard the fans where I have a lot of horns and stuff. I was like, this crowd is awesome.
yeah, it might not be. I gotta see if that might be a venue specific thing, because then in other promotions,
And maybe not like Arena Mexico, maybe somewhere else kind of thing.
yeah.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Don't quote me on that entirely. Yeah, I thought a lot of this worked. The one thing though, and this is just a real nitpick that does not have to do with the match at all, and I'm gonna go back to the crowd. Templario didn't get his own entrance, so he didn't come out with a sword. And I'm like, damn, I wanted to see him walk out with the sword, but
Temple comes out with a sword.
Hmm.
Oh, hell, I gotta check this out.
Also, Bandito, swag was off the chains with the
Oh,
with the
man,
mariachi
he
suit.
came out dripped to the nines. He was ready. My man was lit.
He saw that Soberano Jr. was hurt, so he's like, I gotta have the most swag on the card. Because Soberano Jr. is usually the one who leads in style points, and he had like a serious shoulder injury, so he's been out for a while.
And I just know I died laughing because I didn't know how he was gonna get into that ring, but he did it. He
Did you
did
see
it.
Dax? Did you see Dax take the sombrero
Yeah,
just for a split second?
yeah.
But
Dax was in sure asshole mode all
yeah,
night.
it was awesome. Like, he really feeded off the crowd for Heat too. Going back to the crowd though, I think what is so awesome about him, because like the atmosphere in Arena Mexico is obviously notorious, and now you know why. But it's just people buying in, like they're there for what happens in the ring. There's no we want tables. There's no bald chant. You know what I mean? It's like
They're living in the moment. It's just like
yeah,
uh, Rudos and Technicos. Huh?
yeah,
See?
yep,
Getting it.
yep.
Look at me go.
And
Uh,
yeah, and it's just they're cheering the Technicos. They're booing the Ruda. Like it's just it's pure. You know. Yeah,
and seeing Jesus Christ himself. I mean, I mean, I'm,
dude. And I'll also just throw out there too, because they're not like a promote. And I'll talk about this when we get to like the women's title match. Like championships aren't defended too much. Like they're honestly not the forefront of things. So what's cool about it in that way is obviously like they do have a lot of high stakes situations, especially like when you're getting into like mask versus hair, mask versus mask, like the apuestas. But I think because it's not as serialized, especially like because last year my experience with a lot of wrestling was very stop start with the shit I had going on. So I could just throw on a CMLL show, go to the last three matches, and have a good time. You know what I mean? It's very much you can come and go as you please to an extent, which is awesome too. So it's just one of those things where you can get different things out of different promotions, and that's the good part about exploring and finding these things. You know?
yes, I'm all in now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see it all. I will say, after this, running a pay per view here is not out of the realm of possibility.
No, that'd be awesome. I think they have to just figure out like the schedule because
Tight schedule or like a very busy.
it's a very routine schedule to where it's like
Okay.
Tuesdays, Fridays they run Arena Mexico, Saturday they run Arena Coliseo, and then I want to say Mondays they run Arena Puebla and they tape it for television. So yeah, so like they have like very set touring, so to speak, or I don't even call it touring. It was like they show up in the same spots on the same nights of the week
It's got
all
like a
year.
very set schedule.
Yeah, yeah.
Got
So
it, got it.
I think just figuring out where would be, but obviously that would be awesome. Babyface's win by pinning Dax, if I'm not mistaken.
I just remember Brody King doing a sick Hurricane Rana.
Yeah, him and Lance Archer trading shots was awesome. I was skipping through this and just when I saw Stokely coming out of the microphone, I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, but I mean, he kept it.
Yeah,
It was
gracias.
fine. Great. That was the most. I was just focused on Dax Harwood trying to fight the fans. That was the most part. I was just like, my man is really out here.
He was feeling it.
I was like Scott Steiner, Rinka King style.
Yeah, this fun opener overall. I think just having like a really sick multi-man match, all these different moving parts to feed. It wasn't even like to get the crowd out; it was just feeding off of an already hot crowd. So it worked.
Yeah.
Following that, unfortunately, Okada rocked up, kind of taking the night off, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Okada Briscoe, not much to write home here about. Do you have any observations on it?
I blinked. I kind of was like in and out for this match, to be honest, taking care of my kid, but I guess it was just to get, Briscoe to wrestle at Arena Mexico and Okada to wrestle in Arena Mexico. I I don't know, but it wasn't bad.
It was kind of there.
Yeah.
Alice walking out with Okada. There's some weird tension there. Um, I know Mark Briscoe's wrestled here before. Off the top of my head, there was like a sick ass match where it was like L.A. Park and the Lucha Brothers versus the Briscoes and Roosh.
Oh, hell yeah.
For Roosh and L.A. Park got banned. But yeah,
Damn, Roosh.
Yeah, I was really hoping he'd show up tonight, but clearly they have not healed those wounds yet.
Haven't mended that fence.
No, but this was the stand-in to further the Kenny Okada stuff. Again, I hope nothing's going on. It just felt really weird to have Kenny on all the promo material for the show and then write him off right before.
Yeah, maybe another visa issue kind of situation where he couldn't get maybe.
Maybe. Okada does have some history in Mexico as well. He was he trained there actually before. I want to say it was before going to the New Japan dojo. He was training Toryumon under Ultimo Dragon.
Oh, sweet.
A lot of pro wrestling history being thrown around, which is really. Did we have anything before MJF Mystico? I don't believe so.
I don't think we do. There was like a video package, I think, of like. No, that was during MJF's entrance. So yeah, I don't think there was anything before that. If there was, we apologize. But
yeah. But MJF Mystico. Oh, we obviously. So MJF still keeping the MVP gear, which I thought was funny. But Tony Khan dished out for Memero.
Jesus Christ himself. Okay.
So he does not come out to this song.
I hope I didn't know what I was listening to, but the crowd was into it. And once the chorus kicked in and the crowd, I was sold. I said, "All right, I'm in."
Yeah, this was special, and I think they really wanted people to like get it with Mystico. I think this was like one of the best ways to convince people.
The only other way you could do is have him ascend from the heavens. And like,
nice touch with his the mask over the mask. He did Sin Cara colors.
Yeah, I noticed that. Me and my buddy pointed that one out. And what was that? You weren't lying though when you said like he is over, super over, more over than anything down there.
Yeah, no, like
once that
he's
music
the guy.
hit, he is like the Mexican Hulk Hogan. Like, jeez Louise.
I was reading some tweets from people at the show, grain of salt on the internet and all that. Someone was saying how like all the beer vendors and stuff stopped to sing along.
Hell yeah! Like they were like, "Oh hey, we gotta wait." It's like Morrissey. When Morrissey plays, you can't sell meat. Hey, that beer. Stop it. Misco's coming out.
It's just like everything took priority to Mystico walking out to is it Memuero? Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know what it was,
Spanish
but
is not. I watched a ton of lucha the last year and a half. My Spanish is not very good.
He could have came out to any song, and that crowd would have ate it alive. So
yeah, that one was special though. Because again, you're tapping back into his history. He does not walk out to that song every single show. I believe since he signed back with CMLL, he has his own song, which I like, but like obviously this was a special.
Is it the one that he was using on AEW?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
the bells and stuff.
I like that song.
Yeah. But this was special, and I hope. I mean, from what I can tell, everybody kind of picked up on like, oh yeah, this guy is the biggest deal because he is, and I like the match a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen some differing opinions, but I can only speak for my own, and by saying MJF was a lot more real than here. He was just being a shithead, and like that's what I asked for. I didn't want to see him try to do all kind of bullshit. I wanted him to just like do bullshit, you know?
Yeah, he wasn't over the top, and he wasn't doing less. It was like a shitbag heel played the part. The ending, especially, shitbag heel played the part.
Yeah, which I think that was a way for. Excuse me. I think that was a way for Mystico to not have to lose because again he doesn't lose in Arena Mexico, and for MJF to be protected as well. I just don't know where they're going with it. But before we talk about any speculation, you have anything else on the match?
No, I think I'm pretty good.
Something I noticed with because I mean Mystico, he did AEW last week. He's doing MLW stuff too. But something I could say, especially for like when we get to the Dorada match, I just didn't put two and two together in my head. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're just not used to the AEW ring because I think for a handful of guys, being like Templario, Dorada, and even Mystico here to an extent, like the actual ring in different areas matter, and they're obviously so used to this one because they work it at least once a week.
Yeah.
And like the tension of the ropes and shit comes into play, like stuff that I can't even talk about because I just, I don't do it. But I think them being just at home, more comfortable, you got to see the best out of a lot of these guys. I really like the match though. I as far as the finish and like where we're going with it, obviously I think mask versus hair is what you do here.
Yeah.
But people are calling for All In. I don't know if I would do it in the States. I just don't think it would land like as well as it would in Mexico.
Yeah, it has to be in Mexico for sure. Especially if he comes out of that American gimmick and he loses, shave his head.
Yeah, so
And then the one spot I did like in this match was the count out spot. And Mystico was just laying on the stage, and then all of a sudden he rose up. I was like, now he's the Undertaker. No, I like this match though. I didn't have a problem. It was a good MVP or not. It was a good MJF match too. Like because lately he's been kind of dialing it in.
Yeah. Also, I'm definitely not opposed either to running Hurt Syndicate versus El Sky Team, which is the team that formed this year of Mystico, Mascara Dorada, and Neon. I think that could be really fun too if you want to put that on like All In or Forbidden Door or something.
I feel like
MJ. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like it sets up for our or it looks like it's setting up for Hurt Syndicate versus Speedball and Speed Jet or whatever they're called.
But yeah, that probably might be the defense on the pay-per-view.
And I'm all in because those guys will get tossed around too.
Yeah, and especially when I think it's a good way of just committing to your new signings. I think if anything AEW has done a good job at this year, it has been handling people that they've brought in. I don't think they've necessarily missed on anyone yet. Obviously, we still haven't seen very much of Tekla on American TV, but like Speedball, Kevin Knight, I mean, even I think they're getting the best out of Josh Alexander as like
I was about to say Josh Alexander's debuted and went right to the Don Callis family, and he's been on TV every week.
He's been a good fit there though. Like I don't think he needed anything else. Like he's perfect as like a heater for them.
Yeah, he doesn't really have that over the top character. You know what I'm saying? He's a good heater, and even then he's been predominantly on TV every week. So
yeah. So
I can't really think of one like other than Tekla, but that doesn't count. She's only been there for 3 weeks now. Right.
Yeah, and this one's obviously like an omission because it's a special show out of the country. Speedball or Speed Knight, Speed Jet, or whatever you want to call them.
Jet balls.
Probably at All In now that I think about it. I wouldn't do MJF Mystico there. That might just be what they do for CMLL's biggest show of the year is just their anniversary show. The 92nd anniversary show. Last year they did Jericho and Mystico, which was...
I remember that one. I remember seeing highlights of that one.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
Even Mystico gets sucked into the Jericho vortex.
Yeah, so maybe they can get it right if they want to have another foreign heel come in and lose to Mystico. But... yeah, I had fun with this one. I don't got much else to say about it. I need to go back and rewatch more attentively the 4 million pesos 4-way match though. But from what I saw, this looked nuts.
Yeah, this is around the time I was putting my son to bed, but in and out, it looked great. It looked like an old school cruiserweight match, high flying, crazy. I did see that Bandito said that he wants Dorado to sign with AEW. So
Yeah, so they had their match last night, and that was like the post match promo, and people did not take kindly to it by any means. But I think it was more of just saying like, yeah, we'd love to have you like make more appearances and stuff because he is a special guy. Like, he is one of the best high flyers on the planet right now. I think this match and last night's match are more of a showcase for him than what he's got on AEW. And again, I think that all comes down to just like being used to the different rings and different parts of the world, different promotions. But what I did catch from this match, mainly I missed the middle, but in the beginning, it almost felt like a tag where Ricochet and Leo Rush were doing a lot of shitty heel work, and then Hologram and Dorado were combining for like just a lot of insane offense, and then everything kind of exploded towards the end. But stick a pin in that one. I need to go back and revisit that, but it seems like it was sick.
from what I've seen also, it was pretty dope. I will also go back and watch that too.
Yep. Following that was the Women's World Championship match. I feel like this was a little short for what it could have been. But do you have any thoughts on this one?
She did it again.
Yeah. And with what I was saying, so I told my brother this too. I was like, hey, if anyone's concerned about her winning this title, like I said, championships in CMLL aren't always priority. So it's like not hurting them. And I think she's just genuinely interested in working there more. But hey, with the news going around, if that means that she's going to take the Beast Mortos with her, I'm all for it.
I'm also all for that. Mercedes Mortos.
Yep. It's a cool name, man.
And how do you pronounce her name? Zeuxis? Alright, Zeuxis. I remember seeing her now. I remember that mask. So I was like, I remember... But it's not a bad match, but it was just way too short. Or not way too short, but it was pretty short. 9 minutes, I think. And
yeah, 9 minutes with the picture-in-picture, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice ending where Monet reversed the top rope, whatever she.
I did like the finish, and I like that was the finish, and not just a near fall.
Yeah, it was just like a little flash, little one, and Mercedes is your new CMLL Women's Champion.
Yep.
And then
we'll say too in the beginning, just before we get to the angle, Zeuxis like came out real hot. Some of that offense, like right out of the gate, was mean as hell, and I'm like, okay, like I was dialed in at that point. I'm curious to see how often Mercedes does make guest appearances, though. But following that, we got some actual heat to this title match feud, this title program, I should say. Real cool vignette.
This is why it should have been the main. This part should have been the main event. All of this right here. Yeah.
Basically, Tony doing some Carmen Sandiego spiel, but if you notice the street signs and stuff, they were filming footage in Mexico. So she's thinking, oh shit, she's here. Do the bait and switch with Mina on the stage, and then real awesome shit canning from Tony, and they made sure to do it while Mercedes was holding all the belts. So there was just silverware flying everywhere. Yeah, it looked really sick.
She hit her with that German and everything flew up in the air. That looked badass.
Yeah, and there's like streamers coming down from the title celebration too. Visually, this looked awesome, especially because she rocked up in the red trench coat and stuff.
Yeah. This right here was like, okay, now I'm interested. Now we're getting somewhere. But I'm excited to see where we go from here because we still got a few more, like what, 2 weeks? Couple weeks?
3 TVs?
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
So, do more of this. You got me hooked.
Yeah, we have 3 Dynamites left till the big show.
Right.
and we're also getting a live Collision this weekend.
Yeah, I seen that and I was like, ooh, here we go. I mean, I work, but live collisions are always usually a good collision. So
Nothing announced yet. I'm assuming they're just gonna deal with that when they're back in the country. Uh, but I'm sure this should be some cool stuff on offering. And
we'll probably get a Tekla match.
yeah. But yeah, I do agree. I want to see more of this from Tony Storm and Mercedes. No more Mercedes eating steaks at ringside with no development of the actual feud. This was the kind of powder keg moment I feel like it needed. Because while I do agree, we've talked about it time and time again, this is the biggest match that the women's division can run for the big show. They've made Hangman and Moxley feel very important. They've made Kenny versus Okada feel like the biggest deal, right? And when these are your kind of three anchors of this show that you're going to build everything else around, yeah, I do think that this one just needs a little bit more heat and consideration in the build. But this angle rather, I thought was really good.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I was tired of the sitting at ringside eating food. I think y'all should be cutting promos, do something. But I'm here now. We're good. We got there. Slow builds, but we're getting there.
Yeah, but this worked for me. I'm excited to see where they continue with it going forward. I had it in my drafts. I didn't actually tweet it out, but I'm like, well, if Tony Storm's pulling from more like noir stuff, are you familiar with the film Blast of Silence?
I'm not.
It just opens with a monologue of this like dude. It's like just being like, you come into this world alone and you leave it alone. And I'm just like, she should be ripping shit like that for vignettes. It'd be hard as hell.
Yeah, don't put it past her because she probably will start doing that soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna tweet RJ City a link to
Yeah.
Blast of Silence.
He's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, I love this movie," and then you're gonna see it just him quoting it or Tony Storm quoting it next week.
Hell yeah. Oh, good film. And it's like 80 minutes or something around there, so it's a short one too. But that's neither here nor there. Main event time. Another big old tag match, but I think this one was a little bit more structured, and I think that helps when there's not 14 people flying in and out. Like I think they built some more tags. The teams being Death Riders. I put Blackpool Combat Club on my Twitter thread. I had to fix that. Death Riders, only Moxley and Yuta because Claudio had his issues traveling, which was a shame, especially because I think he was the AEW wrestler who appeared there the most last year.
Yeah, because he was with. They had that match with. It was him. It was when he was in a BCC, right? With him,
Yeah, so
Danielson, and
they did that match at the Night of Two Legends main event where it was like, so it was Mystico, Ultimo Guerrero, Volador Jr., and Blue Panther against Moxley, Claudio, Danielson, and Matt Sydal. I thought it was 5-on-5. It was 4-on-4.
I remember that now because I was like, why the fuck is Matt Sydal teaming with them?
I think Yuta was either hurt or had another travel issue, so he was replaced last minute. And then Claudio came back and won the International Grand Prix Cybernetico. It was like right before All In. So he flew from, I think he went from the States to Mexico. No, he went from the States to Wales for Dynamite, then Mexico on Friday, then England on Saturday.
Ain't me. Ain't catching me doing all that.
Yeah, no, he's the man. And I was kind of bummed out that he couldn't be there for the show, but the Beast Mordos took his place, which hell of a consolation, and they mended that bridge to get him there at the very least. So no La Facción on the show other than him, but that's progress is progress, right?
We're getting there.
Mm-hmm. It was those three and the Young Bucks taking on the Ops with Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. And boy, was Will Ospreay received well at this show.
He got a mystical like pop. I can tell you that. Not as big, they weren't singing his music, but yeah, I'm assuming he's been there before.
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. But it wouldn't surprise me, and obviously his style fits in there perfectly.
Yeah, because I couldn't hear if they said if it was his first time there or not, but he fit in well. The crowd loves him. There was some. Oh, his little headband was throwing me off. I don't know why. I just, I was like, do something with the hair, man.
Also because like you know the headband, like he's rocking the butt cut right now, and the headband's only making it more like pronounced.
Yeah, I was like, I could see it, man.
So he had the headband on to sell the loaded boot from last week. I'm trying to figure out where he got the shiner from, and I'm almost wondering if it wasn't from that forearm because his nose looked okay. Thankfully, obviously he made the show. He was a big part of the match. It wasn't like he was just there.
Yeah, I, I think they're trying to say it came from the super kicks, but uh, I also thought it was from when he shattered his face.
Yeah, he took that nasty forearm early in that match, and then he also. It's still like my favorite moment from that match was when he missed the hidden blade, but he ate shit in the turnbuckle. I'm almost wondering because like he did not protect himself. He went head first.
Yeah,
It looked like $1,000,000 though. But that was last week. This match though, a whole lot of fun. And like I said, they structured it more to get heat on the baby faces. Ospreay did really well in that spot. I retain that I think I enjoy Will Ospreay more as a TV wrestler than in a lot of the epics. And he just played his role very well. The hot tags in this match were sick, like Powerhouse Hobbs too. I'm happy that he's been getting featured more. I thought he was great in this match too.
yeah, big Hobbs guy. I still wish they would can finish the selling the hook thing.
Yeah, I
Finish,
don't know what they're doing with that. Yeah, that's all messed up and weird, but
the
um
same thing with Gabe Kidd. I guess we'll never know.
yeah, he might be just becoming AEW because of the Japan crowds have turned on him since, but we can talk about that in a little bit.
We got the Beast Mortos. I still love that new mask he has though. That shit's so sick.
Yeah, with like the white, almost like
Yeah,
spray paint look.
yeah, and then uh, the Young Bucks playing their shitbag heel, but still doing they're going back to their old school moves. I fuck with it though, man.
Yeah, I think they had a happy medium with it. I don't, my eyes don't roll when I see him on the card anymore. Ever since, forget the dynasty angle. I mean, that sky was falling for everybody at that point. But ever since they've been wrestling on TV again, I've been a lot more receptive to what they're doing. So credit to them, man. I think they kind of rehabbed what they had to with like the EVP stuff.
Yeah, I just wish they would end this Death Rider thing. It has
Three
to end.
weeks, man.
It needs to end in 3 weeks.
We can stick on that narrative because in the post match, like Moxley went for the briefcase and then that united front stared him down, and it wasn't kind of in a way where they've made Moxley look weak, like especially in like the Copeland build. Uh it just looked like, oh, like I've pissed off enough people to where I can't just get away with this anymore.
I can see that, yeah. Kind of like where you just like, oh shit.
Yeah, it was just like, okay, like when to back off. What do you think of him pinning Swerve?
Uh, the set, I at first I was kind of questioning it, but then when Hangman came out, it kind of made more sense because I'm like, why is he coming out to save Swerve? But eh,
Getting closer to the reconciliation, I think.
yeah, or Swerve just kicked his head off.
Yeah, that too.
I mean,
Guess
either
you'll never
way.
know. Yeah, I thought this was a blast. I thought everybody got their moment to shine. The hot tags were awesome. Uh, Arena Mexico chanting Joe. I mean, come on. This was really cool, and it was Katsuyori Shibata's first match there. He said in almost 25 years.
Yeah. Shibata's first match there in 25 years. So Joe's first time there, they said.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
I was like,
a lot of bucket list stuff for these guys, and that's got to be a cool feeling.
I feel like a lot of the people that were, well, not a lot, but I'm hoping that they knocked out a lot of, like Brody King, for instance, knocked out Tokyo Dome and Arena Mexico in the same year. So that's pretty badass.
And Wembley in a 12 month span
But yeah,
wasn't
Wembley too, yeah.
was he in that ladder match?
Yes.
Yeah, so he got to work.
Because weren't they the trio champs at the time?
Yeah, I want to say so.
Yeah, so I think you were, yeah. Oh, I say he was in that ladder match.
That's huge in 12 months. That's can't ask for more than that, right? Well, him winning some of these matches, but other than that, we'll get there.
We'll get there, though.
Yeah, cool dovetail to the show though with Hangman coming out. I would say like indirectly making the save. They still they didn't really interact. It was more of just he went after Moxley, but that's still for what they're trying to do, the story they're trying to tell. That's very much in line with where we're headed. And I think they did just enough to kind of remind you, being like, yeah, this is like the A program. Because even though this did not need to be quote unquote like in canon with the All In build, I think they incorporated enough to where it's still like in your mind. But we got 3 weeks now. They got to fill out the rest of this card.
Yeah, you better. Well, we're gonna get a tag match on there. But like we said, though, unfortunately, what happens is you have four of your champions tied up in singles matches. Technically, if you want to count Okada and Omega, but mostly
Yeah,
you
because
got
it's a winner takes all.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got your women's and your TBS all tied in with each other, so they'll figure it out. They always use we'll probably get a casino. No, that's
I think we'll get one. I don't know if it'll be for the men. I know we talked about maybe they'll do it for the women, yeah, with both titles tied up into one match. We can speculate for a bit because we kind of flew through that, and I don't have too much else to talk about. This might be a quick power hour, honestly, but
yeah. I got nothing else.
um, we can speculate on the All In card though, real quick, because it looks like they're continuing the Adam Cole Kyle Fletcher feud. But does that scream like biggest show of the year match to you?
No.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe they want Fletcher winning his first singles title to like be on that card because like clearly they're so invested in him,
Yeah, true.
and him winning that belt needs to happen. Like you can't back out of it now because I think he's the kind of the perfect guy for it. A heel defending that on weekly TV, doing open challenges, doing underhanded shit to keep his streak going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Prep him for. I mean, they want to treat this new belt like the 1A, right? So there's the world title and then the unified title.
So like the Intercontinental, more or less. But
Yeah.
but I figured that would be your TNT title then.
Well, I think that they're intending to use this unified title to main event shows. Like if the world title isn't. Which, if it's going back to Kenny, I'm cool with that because I think Kenny does need like a last run on top. And that way you could do it without having to put him in that world title picture. So we'll see with that one. Otherwise, I'm just trying to think of what else they can do. I know there's some like Willow and Stat stuff brewing in the background, but it just feels like they just don't want to ever fully commit to them being in main programs, which is a shame because like I think so highly of them both.
Yeah.
And then I guess we just gotta figure out like Christian's advertised for Collision, at least in the promotional material. So we gotta see if they're finally figuring out the Edge and Christian stuff, if it's gonna be FTR. We talked about the tag titles already. Yeah, I'm curious because there's no way this is gonna be like a 6 match show.
No, absolutely. He's gonna stack it. You can be like, you get a match, you get a match, you get a match, you get a match.
Yeah,
Because
so I just
I'm sure there's matches where like there's feuds or something happen that we don't see because we don't watch Collision. But I feel like it's gonna be. I'll say at least an eight match card. We might get two more matches. We're gonna get a tag match for sure. Like, and you gotta think we're gonna have 0 hour, so they're gonna throw stuff on there. So,
hmm
but
But overall, this was a ton of fun. Real easy watch, even if nothing was like out of this world. I think for just a real digestible piece of wrestling TV, as far as the length and the action, and obviously the atmosphere helps everything. Like I said, it makes everything just naturally more exciting. Check out these Arena Mexico shows. If you are interested, if you know if you got the bug from this one, the Tuesday show is less than 2 hours. It's a breeze. They're doing Fantastica Mania Mexico on Friday with New Japan and Ring of Honor, and they've taped some stuff for Ring of Honor special that if it doesn't go up tomorrow, it should go up next week. Off the top of my head, I know they're running Blue Panther versus Lee Moriarty, so for the grappling fans, that one will be right up your alley too.
I tune in to some of these. I'm definitely gonna tune in to more of these Arena Mexico shows though after today though, because I wanna dive into the lucha culture.
Yeah, so for yesterday's show, well, I didn't buy it for yesterday's show. It was one of those things where I'm like, I got all these matches I gotta go back and watch. I just picked up like the 8.99 tier of their premium YouTube because that's just where they air everything now. And the difference between that one and like, you don't get the Friday shows live, you get them like 9 to 10 days after the fact. But the top tier to where you can watch the Friday shows live is like $35 a month, and I just don't have that.
But yeah, no, I don't have that money for wrestling, unfortunately.
Yeah, but $8 for the or $9 for the back catalog and Tuesday shows live. That's still a pretty sick deal. Um, so that's how I've been keeping up with it. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they got planned for the rest of the week. It's been the last 2 days have just been a ton of fun. I can't ask for more than that. But in the last week, did you catch anything else outside of AEW?
Yeah, I saw some results of Dominion, so don't want to spoil anything there if you didn't see anything. So
Yeah, I watched the Minion, or at least I cherry picked a couple of matches.
that's kind of what I wanted to do. But tomorrow's my catch up day, so I'm gonna. You already know I'm happy. My boy got
Mm-hmm.
that white belt, So we're. But I seen Bad Luck Fale came back, so
Yeah, him and Doki joined, and Chase Owens joined House of Torture, which New Japan fans are not happy about. Crowds kind of turned on Gabe Kidd though after him doing his whole Shin Nihon Ichiban and then kind of going on vacation in AEW, which they'll have to figure that out because now he's one of their champions, and I think he's gonna have. I don't I don't think he's gonna get out of his bracket, but I think he is gonna have a deep run in the G1. I think he might go to like the block finals. My favorite matches from this show were Tanahashi Yuya Uemura I thought was really good, and it's setting up. They're in the same G1 block, so it's setting up a rematch, and that's going to be a nice little feud with Tanahashi on the way out. I can't believe he's in the G1, man. I genuinely cannot believe that he's just going for it, like, which is where he's at physically.
fuck it, it's my last time.
Yeah, he
He
really
said,
did.
he said, man, I got no other chance. So
And best believe I'm gonna have to watch every single match, and I don't think he's gonna win the G1. What I think is gonna happen is if it's not him and Takeshita in the final, it might be him and Takeshita in the semifinal. I think they're gonna run that match in Japan one more time.
I can see that.
Yeah, Takeshita being the only. I mean, I don't even know if technically he is a guest entrant anymore with his contract, where he's like where he's shared by AWDT in New Japan. So they've kept it in house. Nothing wrong with that, but you always kind of look forward to seeing if they do bring in anyone outside of the company. They're doing like a 8-person play-in tournament to fill out the rest of the field, but the A block looks really good, so I'm excited. I'm always excited for the G1, even if it's not what it used to be. You know.
Yeah. G1's always like one of my favorite times. That and uh, this and like the Continental Classic, but I don't know if they're gonna do that ever again. So.
I think I think they will. We just got to figure out like what they're doing with it, like the stakes. Um, but other recommendations from Dominion: the Oleg Boltin Takeshita match. It was a third match. Whipped ass.
That's the dude from TMDK.
It's a dude from Kazakhstan.
That cat. Okay, yeah. Who's the big dude? I'm thinking of bad dude Tito. Never mind. Wrong guy.
Yeah,
Keep it moving.
but they're just two genetic freaks doing a bunch of sick power moves.
Fancy Borat?
Yeah,
Oh, sweet. I need to check this dude out.
dude, you're gonna love this match. It's just them doing sick power spots the whole time and it whips ass.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm turning that on when I'm cleaning tomorrow. So
Yeah, yeah. That was a never open weight title match. I didn't really care for Gabe Kidd Tsuji. I never really liked their matches, but you might be feeling it more. I mean, you gotta see your guys' big moment, right?
I see it, man.
And the main event, Goto Shingo, was good, but it's like I've seen. I feel like Shingo kind of is just settled into having the same match every time.
I heard this one felt kind of phoned in. Is what I'm hearing. I'm not. This is just the internet. I don't believe the internet, but
I've kind of had that thought about Shingo for a while now, but I like don't want to accept it. Not that he's
yeah,
washed, but he's kind of coasting. Because
yeah.
I didn't like the Takeshita match at the Tokyo Dome. But I mean, he does have a G1, and it's like Shingo in the G1. So, and he's in the same block as Zack. Shingo and Zack usually have good matches, so I'm not giving up on him by any means. He's one of my favorite wrestlers ever, but like Shingo in the last year or so, it just hasn't been my cup of tea, unfortunately. But I'm still gonna check out, see what he has to offer in the G1. But yeah, not a bad match by any means, but just like more of the same from that pairing. But I'm enjoying the Goto run overall.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna be my own judge. I don't listen to the internet.
Yeah, yeah, that's always the case. Don't because like I said, even last night, like people are calling that Dorada Bandito match like match of the year and shit, just like very hyperbole. But I think it almost comes off as like it's like newer to them to see Dorada be doing all this wild shit. I still really like the match though. I say go out of your way for that one too. But figure it out for yourself. But I say check out Tana Yuya, Takeshita, Oleg, and then hey, yeah, I'd say give the main event a shot. Form your own opinion. Like I said, I don't think it was bad by any means. It's just more of the same. But yeah, looking forward to the G1. And also I'm just glad to be watching like a lot more current wrestling again. I used this week to really take advantage of that.
Yeah. That's why I like my Thursdays. I get to catch up on all my wrestling that I couldn't see last weekend.
Yeah, so going forward, I'll be pitching in here and there with just sprinkling in whatever I do check out. Now that I'm not stuck in December anymore. But
Welcome to summertime, baby.
yes, sir. And about 20 blurbs into the match of the year stuff, I will be plugging it in here like crazy once it's out, because that's like my big end cap for the project. But other than that, I think I'm good.
I think this is a short power hour episode, my friend. I think we're
Oh yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, obviously starting a little bit late, because we're doing this one on a Wednesday.
we're back.
Yeah, hopefully back to just regular scheduled programming as far as like no more than 4-hour TVs, because that was only 2 weeks, but it was like because of how I divvied up watching it, it felt like
It was 2 days for me because
yeah, it was like a 2-day thing.
it was literally two shows every time because if 1 hour was Dynamite, 1 hour was Collision. But last week felt just like one big Collision episode. So, but this week they got it right. And if they could do more of these, 2.5 hours seemed just right. So it's fine.
Yeah, not that I ever lost the bug, by any means. I wouldn't have
But
started
yeah,
I wouldn't have started a podcast if I didn't have the bug. But coming out of this show, and obviously the setting greatly helps. But I'm like, oh, live collision? Might have to, might see what they book. Or I'm coming into this watching uh Dominion, two Arena Mexico shows. Like I feel like I'm getting my form back as far as just like watching stuff when I have the time while still being productive in my personal projects. So yeah, man, I'm excited for this summer. I really am. I think AEW figured a lot of shit out. They have to stick the landing with the big show, clearly, but I at least have the buzz.
yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for All In. They got me. The main event is what's got me. I want to see if they pull the trigger. You have to pull the trigger. For the love of God, pull the trigger.
Yeah, I don't think John Moxley ain't cutting no promo in Spanish.
I'm saying he
So
wasn't like he didn't talk at all. It was seeing them come. Seeing them come through the entranceway confused me.
yeah, and like I always say, I was like the Death Rider's strongest soldier for the longest time, and I still love Mox, but I'm like, I just saw Hangman tonight, and I'm like, no, that's the guy. It has to be the guy.
Yeah, he's got the crowd behind everywhere you go. The crowd's behind him. Now it just goes, does Swerve turn on him or does he help him?
And I'm sure they're gonna try to interweave all that together. So you'll get to hear all of our thoughts on it as it happens. But I hope you enjoyed this quick power hour after we've gone longer and web, but also we've had twice as long of TV to cover. So
Don't worry, next week we're back in regular form. We're here.
yep, nothing I could think of as far as like other happenings throughout like this weekend.
WWE was boring. Nothing happened over there. So unfortunately, I'm not saying like it was a shot. It was just nothing happened over there.
Yeah, I'll just say that I watched the follow up on SmackDown with Punk and Cena because I saw people saying it was like an all time promo, and I'm like, maybe Punk, was saving his best shot for SmackDown, and honestly, I wasn't too impressed. I thought he was just kind of doing a bunch of recalls. Cena's trying his best to incorporate the big issue into the story, but they're never going to fully commit to it because of how much money they're getting. I'll tell you what though, I'm actually gonna watch Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton because that actually sounds pretty sick.
Yeah, it does sound pretty badass. That's for the King of the Ring, right?
Yeah,
It's
I'm
Friday.
gonna check that match out.
Yeah. I was highly disappointed when they brought Jay Uso. How the fuck? Question: how the fuck do you lose the world
this
title?
was bad.
And then a week later, you're winning the match to go into the King of the Ring? What?
So, do you think the final is gonna be Sami Zayn versus Jey Uso, or Sami Zayn Cody?
Well, Sami Zayn. Oh.
Let me ask you this, because I feel like you've seen more than that. You've seen more than I have. Do we know what title they get the challenge for if they win?
Not at all. No,
gotta,
and if we do, they said it and I didn't pay attention.
All right, because we got to assume. I mean, that's how you get back to Cody Cena, which then that's just gonna get me ranting about how poorly handled the Punk Cena match has been, and I'm not gonna do that because I did a whole bunch of that last week.
Yeah, I mean, but my whole thing is like I feel like you're gonna do Sammy Cody, but
that's a whole lot of babyface versus babyface for this tournament.
It is. I think they're leaning more so on there's no good versus bad anymore.
They want to make it more ambiguous.
Yeah, because I feel like that's where they're leaning. But so if you put man, I mean either way you go, you're gonna get Cody versus one of his friends. But either way, is like what.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Before I get to my last point on the Cena Punk stuff, Gunther Goldberg is official. Dude, I'm buying. I'm giving it a chance. I'm giving it a chance. If it's like 4 minutes, I think it'll be sick.
I'm I'm gonna tune in because you know me, and I'm all about the horses. So I'm gonna go into it with low expectations,
Oh yeah, like it
but
could be a disaster, but there's a slight chance that it's badass.
it was funny as shit. Me and my buddy Josh were sitting here watching Raw, and Goldberg came out, which we all knew that was the rumor coming, whatever. And he said, Goldberg didn't say who's next at first. He said some other line, and I go, "Yo, he better say who's next, because if he doesn't say who's next, I'm gonna scream."
Yeah, what are we doing?
And then he finally like said, I didn't hear him say it, and I looked at my buddy. He goes, "Oh, he said it. Like he said it after that line." I was like, "Okay, good. I must have tuned it out." But I was about to be so furious if he didn't say who's next. I forgot what line he said, but or no, he didn't say you're next or something like that. He said something weird. And I was like, "What the fuck?"
I'll say this: it's the first time WWE has booked something in a long time where I'm just like, what the fuck is that even gonna look like?
Yeah,
I genuinely have no idea. So
I'm just generally scared because old WWE would put the belt on Goldberg.
I don't think they're
They won't.
strapping him up.
They're
No.
not. But old WWE, and I got PTSD from that. I got PTSD WWE, bro.
Oh yeah, like they killed Kevin Owens' main event run with that.
Yeah.
I will say this, or go ahead, you finish.
No, I was gonna say I
Finish
thought
up your thought.
I thought there was somebody else they did too, but it was Kevin Owens. Carry on.
No, the Fiend.
That's who I thought was Bray Wyatt, right?
Yeah, they had him take the belt off of him and like clean his whistle in Saudi.
And then Brock Lesnar did it to Kofi.
Yeah, man, those are trying times, man. It ain't much better now. Like I'm still not happy with a lot of what they're doing. I'm glad Asuka's back. Like
There's like bright spots, but there's not enough for me to watch a whole TV show with at the X amount of hours in a day. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, especially with SmackDown being 3 hours. Although it's going back to 2 in August, I believe. Thankfully,
It needs to go on Netflix because with everything else, I mean,
yeah. Last thing about the Fed, this is more of just probably me coping and reaching out of my mind here. So just entertain this thought for me. They announced that WWE will be participating once again in the Summer Fanatics Fest, and it's branded as a SummerSlam kickoff. And there are 2 names announced for the kickoff, and it's CM Punk and John Cena. I believe it's taking place after the match, so I'm not saying that it's not going to happen in Saudi. Maybe we'll get a series out of it. I don't really know, and quite frankly, at this point, I'm starting to not care. But hey, if they at least get more out of it than just the one and done while dragging Punk through the mud and all kind of other nasty stuff, that's at least better than what's booked for now.
oh yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. It's like I just want it to be better, man.
My issue is like they started off hot with like the very first like Netflix episodes and good, and then all of a sudden they're just dwindling down. SmackDown's 3 hours. People can't even watch it because it's not even on like if you don't have like cable, you know, because I don't know exactly what channel it's on. But like my buddy out in Cali said he couldn't really find it, so. But
yeah, they need to make it everything like accessible.
Yeah, but like I just come to a realization that it's not for me, and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. It's gonna be on, and there's bright spots in there, like you said, Asuka coming back. Also hope Liv Morgan getting hurt kind of sucked, but
yeah, that looked brutal. I guess I saw today she had to get surgery, so best wishes to her.
yeah, it's like damn, we were right in the middle of that finish, hopefully getting rid of this Judgment Day thing.
Yeah.
But for like overall, it's like there's some bright spots, but there's just not enough time in my day to.
Yeah, to fully invest. I know what you mean, and quite frankly, I'm with you. Like they really lost me since SummerSlam last year. I totally just because like at the very least, like my brother and I would watch Raw every week. You know?
Like I haven't watched Raw in a while up until when they went on Netflix. Like I didn't watch Raw for a while, just because a 3 hour TV show is a 3 hour wrestling show. I got a weekly 3 hour wrestling show is just way too much.
I can't tell you the last time I watched the full Raw. I just skimmed through it now because like I don't watch it live, and then like we've always just like watched it after to skip commercials, especially like when it was 3 hours. I think the last Raw I watched in full was Raw after Mania, and before that was the one after the Rumble with CM Punk versus Sami Zayn,
Okay, yeah.
which is still by far my favorite WWE match this year. But at the end of the day, and I feel like this has been the case with the Fed for a while now, I think if you frame it as you're a fan of a handful of wrestlers, it's a lot easier to watch.
True.
If you're just kind of keeping up with who you want to keep up with, and this is an extent kind of everywhere, but like I think it's a nice way to get around a lot of the stuff that is maybe not designed with the wrestling fan in mind.
It's designed for the kid or entertainer, mindset.
Right. They're not thinking of like us when they're booking this stuff. So
Like I was talking to my buddy about this. I was listening to another podcast talking about how like they review different pay-per-views, and now we're in like 98, right?
mm-hmm.
And they're talking about how, oh, sorry if we don't really talk about like a lot of detail here. There's really not much going on in the ring. I equivalent. They haven't got out of that aspect yet. You know what I'm saying? But like,
no, of course.
yeah. So it's like, oh well, our mindset's just entertainment, so we're not gonna have to worry about that, and that's fine. Like that's what you're there for. So it's just ain't for me.
Yeah.
Not all of it. Not all of it's not. But
right. Yeah. I'm always in the mindset because I know right now, especially with kind of who they're in bed with in, I would say multiple aspects outside of wrestling, be it like,
all the hands cookie pot situation.
Right. I'm not going to judge anybody if they watch it or not.
Oh, yeah, no, like what you like. I'm not here to be a dick. You can like whatever you like. Yeah, we're just saying it ain't for us.
And I'm also not going to act like I'm better than it if there is a match I want to see, you know?
Yeah, like every Monday, it's on. Me and my buddy hang out every Monday. Now, I'll pay attention sometimes, but mostly I'm just chilling.
Yeah, and honestly, that's probably the best way to go about it, like with where they're at. So I think you got the right approach, man. But yeah, I just want it to be better. I want all wrestling to be better. So
I'm looking at you, TNA.
Oof, yeah. Yeah.
Yo, speaking of, I want to give their flowers, though, because that's the company that I thought would have died a long time ago. And here we are. We are still kicking it.
Yeah.
Somehow.
I'm surprised they haven't gotten acquired yet with how WWE aren't so gun shy in this day and age. But if anything, it's a place where they could loan out talent and bring people in.
Yeah.
But so yeah, credit to them for lasting. But next week we'll have Dynamite to talk about. It's going to be just plain old AEW Dynamite. I'm looking forward to just getting back into routine, especially now. AEW historically has always done like heavy 2 to 3 week builds for pay-per-views. So I think we're going to start seeing things come together more. If there is anything notable, like I said, I'm probably going to check out the Sami Zayn Randy Orton match and the Friday Arena Mexico show. So I'll have some stuff outside of the dub to sprinkle here and there. But other than that, that's it for me. I don't know if you got anything to plug or anything shout out.
I ain't got nothing this week.
Very well. We'll keep it locked here for more pro wrestling discussion, mainly on the television. But now that I'm at where I'm at, I'll incorporate some other stuff too. You can find us on socials at Outer Stevon and The Loserweight, and we'll talk to you again next time.
See ya.